Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. So, we are coming to Memento now. As I said in the last video, the Snake Eye video, that I would eventually get to this deck, and I have in fact gotten to it. I think the reason that it took me longer to get this particular profile out is that this deck definitely does not play quite like any other Yu-Gi-Oh deck that I personally have played before. Memento is a really cool deck centered around retrains sort of old vanilla monsters, mostly in art, of course. Being vanillas, they didn't have effects, but here they are all given some pretty relevant effects. Each one of them actually plays a fairly significant role into the combos that you do. I will say, the combo lines for this deck can be a bit confusing sometimes, like just trying to follow along and figure out like what exactly you need to send to the graveyard or put back with the fusion if you're putting stuff back from the graveyard. It can be a lot to keep track of, so I'm not going to promise that this is optimal Memento play. However, I do feel like I now have a decent grasp of what the what the deck is really all about. So it's really all about getting out the combined creation, the Mentotal. I always want to say it Mentotal. It's Memento the combined creation. So you mainly want to get this guy out on the field if you're a tournament board, as well as, of course, the continuous trap card Cranium Burst. This combination of cards will act as a functional Appaloosa of sorts, negating up to 5 per turn and potentially more on-field monster effects. Now, it is important to note that the continuous trap card can only negate monster effects on the field, right? So if your opponent is like doing a hand trap, or if they're activating an effect from the graveyard, you will not be able to negate that with the Cranium Burst. So it's not like quite as good as Appaloosa. But, of course, the combined creation has a lot more stats than Appaloosa would, which is kind of a benefit there. Also, being able to bring back Memento monsters, also not too shabby there. The ability to bring stuff back during the graveyard can potentially act as more disruption as well. For example, if you have either Anguish or Dark Blade in your graveyard, then during your opponent's turn you can use the combined creation to bring back Dark Blade to potentially pop a spell or trap card. Or, if you don't already have Mace in your hand, you could, during your opponent's turn, bring back Anguish effect to search the Mace if it's in your deck, and then you can use this quick effect of Mace to take control of an opponent's monster until the end phase. And that is a quick effect, so that is another form of disruption the deck has. On top of that, we do have a lot of room for a lot of different types of extra deck monsters. And in a lot of your combo lines, you're going to be ending on both IP Masquerade and Elite Kribo, which, of course, can go for the new SP Little Knight, a card that we are all, I think, very, very quickly becoming very familiar with. I am running 2 SP in this list. I do have 2 SP Little Knight, not just for this deck, of course, but there are a number of decks that like using 2 SP Little Knight in the extra deck. Rescue Ace is actually the big one, but really a lot of decks like this that don't make as use of their extra deck as much as their archetypes, you'll often want 2 SP if you have the room. So here we have the room. I have included my second SP Little Knight. There are a number of kind of cool extra deck monsters that you can play in this deck. For example, the Herald of Mirage Lights. You could potentially set this up even under a Sprite Elf with certain lines in order to get some more spell trap negation there. In addition to, of course, your monster effect negation as well. You have to discard a fairy in order to use Herald of Mirage Lights, but that's not too hard to do, considering that we have the Mace, which you'll often search or just have in hand as part of your combo line, is a fairy there. So you can go ahead and send that one. Potentially, some other kind of unique extract monster playing the Artemis here. This is a link one that Anguish can link off into, and the main reason to do that is to make an SP Little Knight using an extract monster, right? So there are some times when, especially going second, you might need to do that. That's why we have the Artemis here. Chaos Angel comes up quite a bit, actually. I most often make it using the Horned Dragon and the Gaddock, but you could, in theory, I believe, also do it with... actually, is that the only combination? Now that I'm thinking about it, let me take a look here. Because this is Earth, right? Yep. This one's Dark. That's 3 and 4. I guess you could do, like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, Goblin, Gaddock, Anguish, Darkblade. I think that adds up to 10, but, like, nah, it's mostly going to be the Tri-Horn Dragon plus the Gaddock there. But the Chaos Angel did come up quite a bit for me. I would call this optional if you don't have a copy, but again, in the very few games I've played so far, this camp I think multiple times, so I would honestly recommend here. Yeah, I don't know, beyond that, like, it is kind of weird to not, like, for me especially, like, it was really weird seeing Memento deck lists and not really having an idea of what the combo line looked like. But basically, your best openers here are the Darkblade and the Anguish. You'll usually use those to go into the Tatsuno here, and that will send 3 Memento monsters that I affectionately refer to as the crew. And that's going to be Gaddock, Goblin, and Mace. Basically, one of each of the little ones. But that's kind of how I remember what to send with the Tatsuno here, is I call, yeah, these 3 are the crew. Gaddock will come back. You'll usually wheel Goblin back to your hand with Gaddock, and then you can potentially start sending, like, you know, your Combined Creation and Cranium Burst to the graveyard. Now you might be wondering, well, if you want to set these up as part of your end board, why do you send them to the graveyard with Goblin? The main reason to do that is so that you can then get them back. You can get back the Cranium Burst with the Field spell. The last effect here during your end phase, you can set a Memento spell or trap card from your graveyard, so that's that. And then the Combined Creation can actually summon itself from the graveyard, so you don't even have to search this necessarily, like add it to your hand, although you will end up doing that sometimes. But a lot of the time you can just mill this with like Goblin, and then you are just good to go from there, right? So, okay, let's see. But yeah, like I said, a lot of the time your end board is going to pretty much be the IP plus Linkuriboh going into SP, and of course the Combined Creation plus trap cards. So I will say that, like, power level wise, because I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, like, how good is this deck exactly? I would have to say, if I had to put it somewhere, probably lower to mid rogue. Probably like closer to mid, but on the lower side of mid rogue is where I'd put Memento right now. It is a pretty solid deck, and as with, like, you know, very many other rogue decks, like pretty much all of them, you could definitely hit Master 5 with a Memento deck. You could hit Master 1 with a Memento deck too, or even potentially top a tournament with it, but I think you will need to be a fairly dedicated pilot, but certainly not impossible. And we do know that Memento is getting some more support in the future, because they just got a couple more pieces of support in the OCG. Plus, I didn't even realize this until I was chatting with somebody who does some more paper play, but Memento has had like 4 waves of releases of cards, right? Like, we got the first 3 in Master Duel, but I think they were saying like Gaddock was follow-up support, the fusions in general were follow-up support, like the deck didn't even have the fusion stuff when it first came out, so I'm pretty optimistic that not only do we have those other new cards coming soon, but we might even have more Memento cards coming after that. People do like nostalgia, and this archetype is all about nostalgia for like old vanilla monsters, right? So definitely makes sense why they would want to keep coming back to this, and also why people like this deck. It's also just a cool deck, so. Alright. I think that's everything I wanted to say about the list here. So I'm going to break it down card by card, and then we will take a look at some duels. So we are on 2 Effect Veiler, 1 Mementolan Mace, 2 Mementolan Goblin. We got 3 Maxi, 1 Mementolan Gaddock, 3 Ash Blossom and a Joy Spring, 3 Memento, I think it's Mementolan Anguish. We got 3 Mementolan Darkblade, 3 Mementolan Tatsuno, Toshigo. That's not too hard. Alright. 1 Mementolan Horned Dragon, 1 Nibiru the Primal Being, 1 Mementol Tilika. Combined Creation. It's Combined Creation. Reinforcement of the Army got 1 of those, 1 Pot of Prosperity, 1 Memento. Oh my god, this archetype and its card names. 1 Memento Mictlan. We got 2 Call by the Grave, 1 Cross-Eyed Designator, 3 Mementolan Bone Party, 3 Mementolan Fusion, 3 Infinite Impermanence, and then 1 Mementolan Cranium Burst. And that's going to go ahead and do it for the main deck. For the extra deck, we're on 2 Mementolan Twin Dragon, 1 Guardian Chimera, 1 Chaos Angel, 1 Linkuriboh, 1 Artemis the Magistus Moon Maiden, 1 IP Masquerade, 1 Herald of Mirage Lights, 1 Dark the Dark Sharper Gloomy, 1 Sprite Elf, 2 SP Little Knight, 1 Selene, Queen of the Master Magicians, 1 Access Code Talker, and then 1 Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. There is our list. Let's see those games now. Alright, our first opponent is going to be playing Rescue Ace. It looks like they are on an Auroradon package, as well as teching a couple of pretty interesting cards here. But we're going to be taking the first turn, and I think this is a pretty good duel, if it's the one I'm thinking of, to show what all this archetype can be capable of. So, I'm going to open with the Dark Blade, and go to activate the effect here. They are going to Ash Blossom that, but it's really not a big deal at all, because here Darkblade would normally get Anguish to search the Tatsuno, which we're just going to summon because we opened it anyway, right? So, as we go to activate that effect, they have an Impulse as well as the Ash Blossom, which is probably going to go ahead and grab a Fire Engine if I had to guess. Yep, looks like that is the case here. Alright, we're going to send just the Gaddock and Goblin because we did open the Mace as well. It's usually not that much of a problem if you open Mace. Goblin we are playing 2 because it can be a starter, so because our build is on 2, opening a Goblin isn't a problem. I think Gaddock is the only Memento that you really don't want to open, but there are definitely workarounds for that as well. Mostly going to depend on what you open. So now we're going for a Twin Dragon here, and using the Twin Dragon F, I'll pop the Goblin in hand to add the Horn Dragon as well as the Combined Creation. Normally you would want to add Mace there after having, well, oh my god, actually it's a bit much to explain, because you do want Mace to end up in your hand to be able to use this quick effect during your opponent's turn, but normally what you have to do to get it in your hand is, again, Darkblade for the Anguish, and then Anguish for the Tatsuno, right? Then Tatsuno send a Mace along with the other 2, and then later use Anguish to destroy itself and special the Mace, and then shuffle it back with the fusion, and then from there search it with the whatever search effect we just used, the Twin Dragon effect. A little bit convoluted, but again, here we just opened it, so we don't have to worry about that. Alright, as you can see, we did send Anguish as well as the Continuous Trap. I mostly sent Anguish there just to have like another name in the graveyard. It definitely pays to remember that you do need 5 or more names for the Combined Creation. So this is definitely not a part of your regular turn 1 combo line, but because my opponent decided to summon a couple of monsters here and I have the opportunity to, I can actually go Chaos to banish one of them, pivot into SP Little Knight to banish the other. Now I can go ahead and set up the Combined Creation by shuffling back 5 of my dudes. And then, like I said, end phase, the field spell is going to set the Continuous Trap. So we got our Negate set up, we got the Mace in hand for a quick effect Seal, and we have SP up for a Banish as well. Alright, looks like they're going to lead with Wanted for the Diabell here. And oh, interesting, they're going to go straight for the Alert. Oh, right, because my Memento monster is trying to bring back, I was like, why is this activating? I thought I was getting a Negate here, but no. It's easy to forget that. It's easy to forget that Negates are not on the actual Combined Creation. They're on the trap card itself. I'll just get back Anguish for a search for a follow-up play here. But normally, if you didn't have Mace in hand, it was still in your deck, you would want to Anguish here to search that. So here they triple attack, but they definitely took the wrong monster. Like, I thought they were going to try to take my Combined Creation to try to get me off of the Negates, and then I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm not going to be able to Mace it back, which is really awkward, but thankfully they took the SP instead, so... And they just sacked it off for the Diabell start. That is completely fine with me. That is A-okay. Alright, so here we're going to use the Combined Creation to negate the Diabell. Interestingly, they chain Emergency. I'm going to chain the Mace to take their Preventer, because now Emergency has to resolve, and unless the last card in hand is a Rescue Ace monster, which I predicted it probably wasn't, then they have to tribute whatever the thing they summon is. Now, unfortunately for me, this did give them an opportunity to proc the Preventer, but it doesn't really matter, because I can just use the Combined, or the Cranium Burst to negate the Airlifter. Cranium Burst is only once per chain. It really is like Appaloosa, so it's not once per turn at all here. Now, that was a pretty unique tech there, the Infernoble Knight Roland. But that does give them the option to pivot into the Link Kribo, and then during the end phase, I believe they get to add a Fire Warrior. Yes, a Fire Warrior from deck to hand, which, you know, that's not an awful attack, honestly, for Rescue Ace there. So, Little Knight's going to threaten to try to banish the, sorry, what was it again? Oh yeah, they tried to banish the Cranium Burst with Cranium Burst to negate. They chained, but that's actually totally fine with me, if they do that, because the SP Little Knight is still negated. Although the monster has to activate its effect on the field, Cranium Burst can quote-unquote follow the negation, so... And there you go. Opponent is out of stuff. Like I said, in phase they do get to add another Impulse off the Roland there. But, and they get their Little Knight and Preventer back, of course, but... Yeah, I mean, we definitely managed to last through their turn pretty well. That Cranium Burst, I'm telling you, we're not even done getting our negates here. So, rather than negate the Preventer flip down, I'm going to chain the Bone Party at top deck instead. That way I can just sack off the Dark Blade there. We'll go ahead and summon back the Dark Blade with the Combined Creation, as well as using the Field Spell. SP Little Knight's going to try to activate here. We still have the Cranium Burst up, so we'll negate that. Taking our Combined Creation down to 1,000 attack and defense points. Like I said, we're definitely going to get max use out of that this game. Alright, Mace coming back with the Field Spell, Darkblade coming back with the, whatever brought that back. Kind of hard to keep track at a certain point, so... Boom, there we go. Airlifter trying to attribute itself, going to negate that. Now our Combined Creation is down to 0 attack and defense, but I can pop it with the Tatsuno here, right? And then as soon as I have some space on my board, I can just resummon it back by its own effect. And if you're wondering, okay, what happens when your Combined Creation hits 0 attack points, that's pretty much the best thing to do, is pop it with one of your Memento effects, and then, or send it with the Fusion or something. And then from there you can just bring it back from the graveyard yet again, as I'm doing here. Yeah, it's just wild. It's so cool. It's so cool being able to do all the different negates here. And again, we're just going to start Cranium Bursting all over again, continuing to negate our opponent's cards, stopping the Fire Engine. From here, it'll be pretty trivial to link up into an access code OTK. We do Selene access code because the Anguish is a spellcaster, so it is definitely not hard at all to go into Selene and then access code. But here we don't even need, like I summoned Dark and grabbed their Diabell. We don't even really need that. I technically didn't even need the Selene either. Like, I could have gone into any Link 3 just about here. Like, any Link 2 into any Link 3, and I think I still would have had enough bodies. No, I think I did need at least one, so... Ah, well, whatever. It doesn't matter. We have lethal. We have more than lethal. We have far more than lethal here. Oh, yeah, because we can even summon the Horn Dragon, too. Why not? Talk about overkill. How much damage do we have on board right now? 16,450. That is what would it be 17,450 if we didn't have to use the Cranium Burst this turn as well. Well, for the second time. We use it a lot. Alright, and there is the W there. So yeah, if ever there was a game to show the strength of Memento, I feel like this would be one of them. And even then, I think I could have actually done my turn 1 combo line more efficiently than the way that I did it. It was just that opening the Mace kind of threw me off a little bit, as well as having the Dark Blade negated. But we managed to navigate into a pretty good end board anyway. Yeah, getting to use the Cranium Burst a total of 6 times. 6! That's wild. 6 negates casually, you know? It's all good. Alright, we got a few more games to watch, of course, so let's go into the next one. Alright, next opponent's going to be on Salamangreat. So another one of the new decks, or decks that got support from the new pack, rather. We, of course, just covered Salamangreat. Our opponent's list looks fairly similar to ours, but they're playing Kaiser Coliseum, which I kind of don't get because I feel like you normally have more than one monster on the board, but, you know, whatever. Yep, we're taking the first turn here. Going to lead with Rhoda for the Darkblade, and once again, going to try to go into a Darkblade line. Opponent is going to Maxi in response to the Memento Totalin. These cards, this archetype and its names, like... I already have the pronunciation police on me often enough, but oh, I'm going to get slaughtered after this one in the comments. Anyway, we're going to call by their Maxi. Darkblade's going to resolve, getting the Anguish. We could have also just normal summoned Anguish, but the Darkblade line is like a little... I mean, they result to the same board, really, so I don't know how much cleaner the Darkblade line is, but... the Tatsuno is going to get Ash Blossomed here. That is pretty unfortunate. So, we're not able to do a, you know, pitch-perfect combo line, but I will go ahead and use the Fusion for the Twin Dragon here. Twin Dragon F. I think I elected to pop itself. I probably should have just popped the Anguish in hand, though. Because then I could have popped... I guess I can just pop the Tatsuno that I summoned back with the quick play spell. Also, I definitely misplayed here. I should have grabbed the field spell, not Cranium Burst, because I think I could have still got into Goblin at some point. No, wait, I don't have Goblin access because of Tatsuno. So yeah, I think I did need to do this here. That is to say, search the Cranium Burst. Although, no, you know how I misplayed. Oh, it was by, shoot, because I didn't end up having enough unique names. You're probably wondering why I didn't summon the combined creation here. Well, it's because you need 5 different names, and I have the 2 Anguishes. Yeah, I guess that would have been the reason to go for the Anguish line instead of the Darkblade line, huh? Because I was trying to figure out, yeah, that was really where I messed up. Wow, that's not the kind of thing that I would have expected to have mattered, but it apparently does for this deck, like, which line do you go into? Because, yeah, that left me with the extra Anguish, and then now I can't summon the combined creation, so. Anyway, they're going to lead with Lady Debug. We have an effect failure for that, which doesn't always fully stop the Salamangreat turn, but it definitely does hamper it quite a bit. Like, if your Lady Debug gets negated, it's not the end of the world, especially if you have a Gazelle in hand, but really just about any extender, like, yeah. I was going to say Spinny works, too. And you should have, like, some amount of plays. Alright, looks like they're making their own SP Little Knight here. Now, when they go to use the Banish effect, I don't really know why they did that, because I can just chain my own SP. They're going to use the Salamangreat charge, but that's fine. I don't really care about that. That doesn't, like, affect me any here, so. Yeah, basically, my SP gets to dodge theirs. Both will come back, but it's definitely preferable to them keeping their SP and having mine banished, so. Well, and that was also a little confusing there, the Salamangreat charge, because I thought. Special summon the remaining monster. Okay, so it summons it. Got it. Okay, I thought for some reason it added it back to hand. Like, I thought they were going to add back Ash Blossom to hand, because I thought that's what this did for some reason, but I actually kind of don't know why they activated this. Like, I could understand setting it if you need to end up defending with Spinny, like, as a chump blocker, but also it would potentially bait interaction for me to try to blow it up if they set it. But anyway, now, it is a little bit awkward to have a non-Memento monster when you have the Tatsuno. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to summon the Anguish, grab Tatsuno anyway, link it off with SP for the second SP, and I'm more or less going to force out my opponent's SP. Now, I don't know why they targeted their own Spinny with their SP Little Knight, but they really kind of screwed it up here, because now Chain Link 3 resolves, Chain Link 2 there's no targets, Chain Link 1 resolves, and I banish their SP Little Knight there. Yeah, so SP is not like Promethean Princess. Like, Promethean Princess, you can pop. Well, I guess Promethean Princess, to be fair, there's 2 monsters that are being popped. So as long as one of them sticks around, Promethean Princess will still summon itself. But from here, you can tell that SP Little Knight is different. If you get rid of the other thing that SP is targeting, the other one won't get banished. So that's what happened here. I went Chainlink 1, SP first effect on their SP. They went Chainlink 2, SP second effect on their SP and their Salamangreat Spinny. And then, I guess it didn't really matter if they targeted my SP too, because either way, I go Chainlink 3, my SP second effect, target my SP and their Spinny. And that's why the Chainlink just now played out as the way that it did. That's not even like Memento information. That's like, you're going to have to know that. Like, you're just going to have to know that in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, because SP Little Knight is going to matter in so many different decks that you will be, like, in SP versus SP situations like that a lot. So, definitely knowing how the effects will block out in the chain link there, or work out in the chain link there, is definitely knowledge that you need to have if you're running an SP Little Knight, which odds are you probably are now, or if not now, will be at some point in the very near future. But we still have 2 more games to see from Memento. Let's see the third one now. So this one is going to be up against Sword Soul. Let's see what we got here. If we're going first for a second. I don't remember for this one. Okay, we're going first again. This hand, yeah, this hand's not bad at all. Bone Party is a fairly good card. You don't, like, need it for any of your plays, but it's effectively Rescue Ace Emergency. Like, it's the same card, pretty much, so not, of course, not exactly the same, but it's functionally fills an extremely similar role. So, if, for example, you're, like, opening your combo line and, you know, your Dark Blade or Anguish gets like Veiled or Impermed, you can chain the Bone Party, destroy it, and then the effect will resolve anyway. On top of course, summoning a Memento from your deck off of the, what's it called? The, Bone Party. Okay, so. Alright, I think this hand is like, this is a relatively normal-ish combo line, doing the line with the, excuse me, Tatsuno here. I'm gonna use my Bone Party here to send my, what did I pop from hand? Oh, it was my extra Goblin, right, because I wanted to make IP and then Link Karibo here. Alright, now we can get back the Combined Creation from the graveyard. Yeah, I think I set up the board that you usually do, but I did it in a little bit of a weird order. Also, you'll notice we still have the Anguish in the graveyard, which is definitely pretty good. Well, aside from the fact that the Combined Creation got impermed. Normally what I'd be able to do is, yeah, use the Combined Creation effects, bring back Anguish, Search Mace, but obviously Combined Creation is negated, so that is no good. But fortunately, Combined Creation getting impermed does not mean that we don't have our own negates, because those are in the Cranium Burst, if you'll remember, so. Opponent threatened to move to battle phase here, so I'm like, yeah, I'll just go for the Little Knight. I'll banish the Monk of the Tenyi here, that's fine. Alright, following up with an Emergence, we're going to use the Ash Blossom here. Definitely one of the better case uses of Ash Blossom, or it would be except for the call by, but yeah, you don't really get a lot of good opportunities to Ash Blossom Sword Soul, except for the Emergence when they're trying to dig for plays, so. Very, very glad to have stopped that here. Long Gun coming down, I was going to think about using SP, but they summoned Moye instead to reveal the Long Gun first. So, of course, we're going to start with the Cranium Burst here to negate the Moye effect. Now, like I said, yep, they do still have that Long Gun in hand. Here, I elected to use the SP Little Knight against Moye because I was a lot more scared of their level 8 synchros than their level 10s. Like, when it comes to level 10s here, it's like, you know, what are they really gonna make, right? Like, it's probably gonna be the Qixing Longyan, maybe Baron de Fleur, or the, yep, Chengyang, right? But the level 8 synchros, they can go for Bashia, they can go for Qishao to extend plays and find other stuff, and that can be pretty scary. So, they did have an extra Vishuddha, they're gonna link that off into the Monk. I was a little worried they were going to bounce the Combined Creation, but they decided to bounce the Continuous spell instead and banish the Combined Creation, which is definitely even worse for me, right? So, yeah, without access to Combined Creation, the Cranium Burst really doesn't do as much, and you might think that, like, oh god, how are we going to win now? We don't have our deck's main win con. Well, we might not have our main deck win con, but we do still have quite a few ways to close out the duel in the extra deck. Namely, access code. We're going to access code this person. Or at least that's kind of the plan at this point. But I am mostly trying to get to a stage where I can force the, not only the Shenging effect, like right here, but we do also have to think about the Shithana, right? If I battle or pop... Actually, I think if I battle, it's fine, right? Isn't this only card effect? No, it is battle or card effect, yeah. So I have to banish the Monk, right? If I destroy it, like pop it, or somehow the Shithana is going to kick in. I really don't want that to happen if I can help it. Now, oh, I remember now. I was going to go for an access code line, thinking that my opponent still had Vishuddha in the graveyard for some reason, like thinking I could just go into Dark. But when I realized that wasn't the case, I decided I'll just pivot over into a Chaos Angel real quick. That way I can banish the Shenging, not have to deal with the Destruction Replacement effect, and then I can pop for the Memento Infusion, activating that. Oh, you know what, though? Here's where I screwed up. I summoned the Horned Dragon too early. Yeah, I think I summoned Horn... Yeah, I did summon Horned Dragon too early, because you can only summon it by its own effect once per turn, right? And if I had been able to play that... No, that still wouldn't have been lethal, though, right? No. It would have been close, but not quite, so... Alright, that's fine, then. I thought I missed out on lethal, potentially, but... Ashina is definitely not a bad top deck here, however, not really the most my opponent's going to be able to do into it, because of the SP Little Knight. Cranium Burst just kind of forced them to battle with exactly Twin Dragon here. They can use Shithana on the Twin Dragon, Oh no, they use it on the Little Knight, and they just battle in anyway because they know they're done. Yeah, I always forget that Shathana, it's not the monster that you battle with or that destroyed it. I guess that makes sense though, because it reads if a non-effect monster is destroyed by card effect or battle. So yeah, the wording makes sense on that. Okay, never mind. Yeah, we have one more game. Yep, so let's see that one, and then we'll finish off here. Okay, last game here, and it's going to be against a deck that I haven't played against in quite a while, Dark Magician. This particular Dark Magician list is also being supported by the Horus engine, which is pretty neat. As you can see, our opponent has won the coin flip. I'd like to go first here. I'm going to lead with the Magician's Souls to send the Dark Magician from the deck to the graveyard, to then revive the Dark Magician from the graveyard to the field. Here's that King's Sarcophagus. We're going to send the, is that Muhammad, right? Mahad, right. Mahad, Palladium Oracle Mahad. I will use the Ash Blossom here, but not until they go to use the Soul Servant draw effect. Alright, looks like they're going to send the Imperm for a Hoppy. Both Imseti and Hoppy going to summon themselves back to the field, making a rank 8 here. I believe it does end up being the Zombie Vamp, right? Yep, Zombie Vampire. Zombie Vampire F is going to mill them another Horus monster, but also it mills me entirely generic stuff, which is kind of cool that I don't have to give away what I'm on. Funnily enough, I would have loved for some Memento monsters to go to the graveyard there, but can't always be so lucky. So, gonna lead with Dark Blade here, normal summoning that, and pitching the Gaddock to pop the King's Sarcophagus. Gonna activate my Dark Blade's ability. They're gonna respond with the IP Masquerena, going for what I assume is gonna be SP Little Knight. And sure enough, there she is. Now, Darkblade is going to resolve before the Little Knight Banish effect comes up, so Anguish goes to activate. Little Knight will banish the Anguish as she is summoned, but thankfully that also does not negate my Anguish search here, so we can grab the Tatsuno. Now, Tatsuno works if you have no monsters or only Memento monsters, so we can still summon and then send 3 here. That'll give me enough bodies for the Trihorn Dragon, but I don't really get to do that much else. Because I opened a Gaddock, so I wasn't able to send it as one of the 3 with Tatsuno. That's why I said before, maybe there are some lines or workarounds that I need to learn still, but I feel like opening Gaddock is like really, it just really sucks, right? But anyway, I'll definitely battle over the SP, leaving them with only Vanilla Dark Magician and the 1 back row. Looks like they top decked here. Another Dark Blade is a phenomenal top deck for me. They actually go to use the Called By effect here, but we thankfully have the Crossout face down, taking care of their Called By. Alright. Yeah, they're going to use the Magician's Rod effect here, which is like completely fine. I don't really know why they did, but sure. Dark Blade F, going to sack itself for the Anguish. I'm just going to add the Combined Creation straight up here. Summon it, and then we'll just end the game, because we know the last card in hand is Magician's Rod, so we're not going to get hit with a surprise like Battle Fader or something. You know, it's funny, people meme about Battle Fader, and like, oh, people playing around Battle Fader, but like, I just watched somebody else get Battle Fadered in Diamond rank, not that long ago, so that will definitely keep me playing around stuff like Fader and Gores for years to come, I'm sure, but that's going to do it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed this Memento gameplay. Yeah, it's a very, very unique and very, very cool deck. I'm definitely eager to explore it and learn it some more. But let's go ahead and move now to our outro. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. That means a lot to me. It's also a great way to support the channel, so thank you very much in that way as well. If you're interested in supporting the channel in other ways, like the very special patrons that I am thanking here, you can do so by checking out some of the links in the description. One of those goes to the Patreon, where you can join these fine folk and support the channel that way. I do post daily content over on Patreon, so you do get something for supporting there. And if you're interested, I also have a coaching tier option as well. Details again will be on Patreon in the link below. Also in the description linked below is my Twitch page where I stream a few times a week. You can go ahead and check that out, follow or subscribe over there if you ever want to catch me live. You'll also find my second YouTube channel if you feel like subscribing over there to watch some of the Twitch VODs as well as some additional non non-Yu-Gi-Oh related content that I make over there. Again, any of those links you want to check out is all a great way of supporting. But again, even if you don't do that, just watching was also a fantastic way to support. And once again, I have to thank you so very much. But in any case, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out, and I'm hoping you have a fantastic day.